Cinemajaw is sponsored by Cards Against Humanity. They asked us not to read an ad. Enjoy the show. You're listening to Cinemajaw, the greatest movies podcast ever, recorded on location at Cards Against Humanity in Chicago. My name is Matt K. With me is
Rye the Movie Guy, and sitting behind the glass inside the fish tank over there is Filmy and Phil.
How's it going, guys?
This week on Cinemajaw, Matt, it's a shocker.
It is.
It's an unlikely hero.
Ooh, shocking, I guess.
Top 5.
Why is that a shocker?
Because, usually an unlikely hero is somewhat shocking to the audience.
Okay, all right, I see what you were going for.
You see?
Yeah.
Unlikely heroes, it does pop up quite a bit in movies.
We're a pair of unlikely heroes, Ryan.
Well, I am.
I am too. Am I the villain?
You're the villain.
I don't know about that. I think I'm the hero.
We're covering our top 5 favorite unlikely heroes because we are reviewing a certain film that I believe has an unlikely hero.
Yeah. Should we just say what we're going to read? Let's hold it.
Let's hold it.
Okay.
Yeah. We also have a couple of great guests joining us. Long overdue to finally get them in the studio.
Yes. Excited to be talking to Al and Linda Lerner, a team of film critics here in Chicago. We'll get to talk all about them and all their many accomplishments.
They have a glorious website entitled Movies and Shakers. So we'll be talking to Al and Linda. And this is just an absolutely jam-packed job.
It really is.
We
Let's get
really
to
say
it.
that all the time, but we're just recapping how much we have to do. And there's a lot to get to.
Yeah, it's the first of the month. So what else are we doing, Rye?
Yeah. What else are we doing, Phil?
Yeah, we're also going to be going eye for an eye this week on the new Hellboy movie coming out.
And we're reviewing Shazam. There it is.
Yep. In honor, get a load of this, in honor of Hellboy, Matt, you're taking Al and Linda on in red character movie trivia.
Okay. All right. Wow. You're really scraping the bottom of the trivia barrel.
Think of characters who are red jawheads.
Okay.
All right. Plus, did you see, I don't know if you caught this, Matt.
What?
That there is a new Pet Sematary movie coming out.
No.
The press screening, full disclosure, is taking place right now, and none of us are there. We're actually recording Cinemajaw.
That's okay.
But we'll see it. But I was in no rush because I said, who cares about Pet Sematary? You know what I mean?
I was in no rush because there's already a classic Pet Sematary movie.
Classic?
Classic.
You're saying, no. Which one?
I am using the word.
There's only one.
1989.
So, that 1989.
Pet Sematary. Classic.
It is. You got to be joking. It's not even a good movie.
It's a classic.
No, it is not.
Horror classic.
No way.
Cinema War.
Oh, you're going down, Matt K.
I don't know about that.
Al and Linda are going to have their hands full there. Plus, Jawheads, we a lot of times have gone to spoilers after the show, but we're sort of making it its own segment now.
Yeah, after the credits.
Right, so after the credits of the show, the music's going to play, and then we are going to have a segment entitled The Cinemajaw Spoiler Lounge, where we'll freely discuss a movie. Sometimes it'll be the movie of the week when we think it's big enough and most people have seen it. Other times, we'll wait a couple weeks like we are this time. We will be spoiling, or at least spoilers will be present in our discussion of Us.
Yeah, and this works particularly well with films like Us that have multiple layers. There's twists and turns, secrets revealed, things like that, and we can finally just talk about it on the podcast. We may not do this every single episode, but here we are.
I agree. This is going to be fun. Plus, I know Al and Linda have also seen Us, so they'll join us for that.
Can't wait.
As you mentioned, Matt, it is a new month. That means a new theme here on Cinemajaw. And, hey, we're going Cinema War on Pet Sematary. You think it's a classic. It is a Stephen King adaptation. So, ladies and gentlemen, Jawheads around the world, April is Stephen King month here on Cinemajaw.
Oh, that is music to my ears, pal. I mean, a few of my favorite movies of all time are Stephen King adaptations. So this is great.
We'll be celebrating them all month here on Cinemajaw. And to get us started with that, Phil, you got a fact?
I sure do. Today, in honor of Stephen King month on Cinemajaw, we have this fact. Before he was the world-famous author, Stephen King was a struggling and broke writer merely trying to get published in short story magazines. When he worked on the manuscript for Carrie, he threw it away in the trash. Fortunately for all of us, his wife Tabitha pulled it out, read it, and encouraged him to finish it. It eventually became his first published novel, first adapted film, and a massive success. And that's your Cinemajaw Stephen King fact.
It's awesome.
It is.
Don't throw out your scripts is, I guess, the moral of that story.
Agree. That's a film I want to go back and rewatch.
The original or the remake?
The original.
Yeah. The classic?
That's a classic.
It definitely is. No arguments.
Also, the beginning of the month, Matt, means it's time to get a new riddle.
Yeah.
And before we get that new riddle, we do have to clean up the March riddle, which was...
It was a doozy, Ryan.
It was a doozy. We
right.
heard from numerous jawheads, and not with the correct answer. Most of them just writing in to complain that the riddle was too damn hard. And like I said, Matt wrote this one.
You know, it's funny that you throw that on me. I did write this one, but Ryan said, hey, why don't we do a director this week or this month? A director, he says.
Remind the jawheads what the March riddle was, Matt.
It was this. You might call me crazy, but I did not direct The Hunt for Red October. I just wasn't the right man for the job. In the 80s, I wasn't afraid. In the 90s, I went for several days and nights. And then in the aughts, I evolved. Don't tell me it just doesn't matter, because I know your daddy and what he does. Who am I? I think I made it easier with those little inflections in my voice.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe you should have did that the first time around.
Maybe. They had no idea it was going to be this hard.
So many wrong answers came in. So many few right answers actually came in that it was ridiculous. We had to redo the riddle and
threw
give
in a clue.
additional clues. We finally did hear from Chris from Canada, who wrote in, "Holy crap, guys. I thought I was completely stumped for the first time since I started listening to Cinemajaw. I'm not complaining. I do love a good challenge. I think what threw me off was the fact that I kept trying to connect an actor to the riddle, but you changed it up and chose a producer/director.
That was Rye's idea.
The answer is Mr. Ivan Reitman. In the 1980s, he wasn't afraid of no ghost, Ghostbusters. In the 90s, he worked on 6 Days and 7 Nights. And in the aughts, he did Evolution. I'm pretty sure I know your daddy and what he does is a line from Kindergarten Cop.
That's correct.
Good job on the riddle. Keep 'em coming. Your favorite Canadian, Chris Lee. Chris was one of only a few to get it right. And a lot of times we go into the Cinemajaw hat and pick out a winner, but I thought it only appropriate to actually go with the guy who answered it correctly first, days ahead of everybody else, without the extra clues. And that was actually Sean Verna from Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, congrats, Sean.
Yeah, Sean, if you write us feedback at cinemajaw.com, you can get a prize pack, or you can hear yourself on Cinemajaw. We'll give you your choice.
And send us some of that Tennessee bourbon whiskey while you're at it.
That was a tough riddle.
It was really hard. It was.
So it was my turn to take April's on, and I made it challenging, but not quite as challenging. I hope we get more right responses.
Okay, here is your April riddle. My sister, yeah, where is she now? Most of you first got to know me as a kid when I made a movie with my friends. Luckily, it wasn't a train wreck. If you see me at a party, come and talk to me. I will tell you what it was like to work with Coppola 2 different times. Later, I became a model, and then a young horror writer. Nothing bad can happen, because watching over me is none other than Angelina Jolie. Who am I?
If you know the answer to the April riddle, write us feedback at cinemajaw.com. Your name will be thrown into a hat, and one lucky winner will win a prize pack or hear themselves on Cinemajaw.
Whatever you like.
That was a lot to get through.
It was. So let's get on with the rest of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think our guests are sleeping right now.
I know. They're
there was
snoozing.
so much to get to. They were napping. But without further ado, Matt, you mentioned our guests. They are part of the CIFCC, which me and Matt are proud members of. Al and Linda Lerner from Movies and Shakers. Welcome to Cinemajaw.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, boys.
And you guys are sort of part of our social circle. We're good friends, so I'm very happy to finally have you on the show.
Delighted to be here. First of all, thank you so much for the green room treatment. The tenderloin was spectacular.
In that goodie basket.
Did you try the fried
I don't know where
shrimp?
you got all those things.
The shrimp was good. One suggests I'd like the tenderloin a little rarer next time, but other than that, just great. Thank you.
I'll yell at the chef.
Now, inside our critic group, you are the only married couple that I'm aware of. Do I have this right?
I think
I
so.
believe
Yes.
so.
We're not the only married people in the group, but
Right,
the
but
only-
married couple who are both critics inside
This is true.
the Chicago Critics. Now, the reason I ask that is how easy is it to go see a movie at a screening and and not get in a big argument on the way home if you guys view the movie differently? Does it happen quite often?
Well, watching you boys bicker is minor league.
No, but is there some bickering between the two of you?
Oh, hell yes.
But we also complement each other.
How so?
Because I'm more of a writer and the concepts and that kind of thing, and Al has a terrific vocabulary and a way with words, and picks up on detail that I don't get. So we really complement each other.
That's good. You make a good team.
Yeah, we do.
So it's
But we
it's
do
great.
bicker.
It's great. I kind of throw it against the wall, and Linda can craft it and edit it, and put it into a shape that really is eye pleasing. So
Well, thank
that's
you.
that's what we hope.
I think we'll stay married.
Okay.
It's a good team. Now, you guys were involved in media before getting into film criticism, correct?
This is true. Both of us started out in radio and television and
News and elections and master control and engineering, and it goes on.
and
Always in Chicago, or did you guys?
oh no, well, mostly in Chicago. I started out in pro wrestling at the old Channel 44.
Wait a second. I did not know this. You were in pro wrestling?
Check that out on YouTube, baby.
What, what were we calling matches? Were you
Yes,
commentating?
I was the studio interviewer. I was the Mean Gene of Chicago,
That is awesome.
and I got to meet Mean Gene when he was just starting out as well. But I worked with some of the wrestlers. I worked with was the Andre the Giant.
yeah,
He tried to pick me up once.
literally pick
Literally.
you up.
No, pick me up both ways.
Both, literally and figuratively.
He asked her for a date as his head was on the apron of the ring with some guy jumping on his back, supposedly killing him, and he's going, You come with me after match. You come with me.
And the ref, Henry Van Loon, said, "That's Al's girl. Leave her alone."
Henry,
Wow.
The ref said, "Come on, Andre. She's with us. She's with Alan. He's with us. Come on, leave her alone." No. So that was, and he was a sweet guy.
Yeah, he was a very sweet guy.
Vern Gagne, Dick the Bruiser, the Crusher, Yukon Moose Cholak.
And he emceed in lingerie match once.
Whoa.
And
Hey.
I was there to watch it.
Baron von Raschke, the Beast of Berlin, who was actually a lit major from Nebraska. We had great discussions about Shakespeare. and
Why
about
don't we
literature.
have nicknames like that nowadays,
Oh,
right?
really? And while he was doing the wrestling at the same station, I was doing the underground news.
Okay, so like
Black
activism stuff.
Panther and all kinds of concerts that went awry, and did I get arrested, and all kinds of stuff, which
So-
I didn't.
So how did you guys transfer to
Transition.
film? Yeah, transition. Thanks, Ryan. How did you guys transition into film?
So from the days of, we were in Dallas for many years. I was hosting a syndicated radio show out of Dallas and getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and
Yuck.
it was like, but while we were in Dallas, I was transitioning out of getting out at 2 o'clock in the morning, and our son, who works for Apple in Cupertino, said, "Hey, I'm going to get you a computer." And he got us a desktop computer. He says, "No."
A refurbished
And he
Mac.
said, yeah, "Why don't you guys like movie? Why don't you make a website and start doing movies?"
Well,
When
I
was-
was doing junkets for Radio Disney Network. I
Okay.
had worked for them, and all the creative came out of Dallas. But they used to send me to LA to do all the junkets and do all the interviews, because I had worked at CBS News, NBC News in LA, and that's what I did.
So
I
you
did a
had
lot
this
of
tremendous access already. So
Yes.
it was just kind of a matter of making the website and getting started.
Well,
Correct.
we started doing red carpets, and there was actually one time when I didn't tell them I was going to be at the red carpet because I didn't think I could make it because I was coming from work. And I brought my own sign, and I put it down. And the guy who was John Wildman, who was organizing the red carpet, said, "I have never had anybody do that ever." But I got the interviews.
That's awesome.
So this gives us an opportunity to continue on with interviewing, getting behind a microphone, and now still continuing to cut tape when we do interviews, to cut and edit video as well as write. And as you know, Matt, still challenged technologically sometimes with the
we all
ins
are.
and outs of the
Right.
internet, but we do that. So. Our background, we've gone from everywhere from I was a sportscaster, talk show host, got to interview a lot of people. Linda's gotten to interview a lot of people, so we can use those skills and bring that perspective to movies and entertainment, and maybe bring a little different twist to some of what we see in the movies. Not necessarily millennial, Gen X. We
have a wide audience because we
do.
like young stuff. I mean, I worked at the Radio Disney Network, so I was into all the music and all the groups and all the
Kid stuff.
and I still am.
Yeah.
And I'm a dancer. I love Zumba, and I did tap, and I did all that. And so, I just like the entertainment field. I wrote a musical for Second City. I children's musical. I mean, we've done a lot of different things.
All right, I got a question for you guys. With all that experience and all the interviews over the years, I'm assuming you've met many, many celebrities on red carpets and such. Is there one in particular that you got absolutely starstruck and nervous to meet? Like, I don't know, maybe it was Francis Ford Coppola or Steven Spielberg or somebody like that really made you quiver.
You first. Do you have one?
Well, I have one that I didn't think was going to be good, and it turned out to be good, but I'm not sure I should even talk about it today.
That's the one you should absolutely talk about.
Okay. I was supposed to interview Roseanne Barr.
Ooh, when? How long ago?
Oh, it was a long time ago
Okay.
for Radio Disney. It was a junket in L.A., and I rode up in the elevator with her, and somebody said, "Good morning," and she said, "Oh, yeah, what's good about it?" And I said, "You're here." It just came out of my mouth. And I was going to interview her later in the day. And everybody froze. Everybody tensed. And I thought, oh, this is going to be good. I went up to interview her. She was a voice on an animated movie for Disney.
Yeah, I think I remember that, yeah.
Right. Home on the Range. And I walked in, and they said, oh, this is Linda Lerner from Radio Disney. And she said, you were in the elevator this morning. And I said, yes, I was. And as
But that was a nice thing that you said.
Well, and as I got to talk to her, she warmed up. And I told her that I asked her why she got into show business. She said, I used to watch Shirley Temple and tap dance. And I said, well, I'm a
there's
tap
a connection,
dancer.
yeah.
And I asked her to sign a shirt for a scholarship out of National, Tap Dance Day. And she gave me a great interview. I asked her, I understand you collect pigs. She says, no, I collect husbands now. And I said, what was the best advice you ever got? She said, sit down and shut up. And it was a great interview.
Is that
she was
available
very
still
talkative.
online?
Yeah, it is.
Huh. I have to look that one up.
How about you, Al?
I was thinking a couple of them. When I was doing the syndicated radio show, one that I was really excited about at the time was John Krakauer, the novelist and the adventure writer. We talked to him over a satellite phone at his base camp on Mount Everest.
Oh, my God. Wow.
So I was just the vision of thinking of a guy looking up at Mount Everest on base camp. He was still about 13, 14,000 feet up.
Yeah. So
And
where
he
you
still
calling
had-
in from?
Yeah, and talking to him, and that was a real treat. The couple others, I got to play softball with Michael Jordan once, and sat on the bench with Michael Jordan. Got to shoot the breeze with him, and that was pretty cool.
That's pretty tremendous.
That was cool. Interviewing Jimmy Carter once, actually a couple of times, and disagreeing with him, on the phone was that was scary because he was really icy cold. When you disagree with him, he got this icy coldness in his voice that was just really scary to me. That's what being around power is. But the one that I was really nervous about was we were at the Austin Film Festival a few years ago and got a chance to interview Jon Stewart
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
on the red carpet just for a couple of minutes.
And
But that was
before
at the
he-
time.
yes.
That was the time when he was at the height. When the Daily Show and him at that was just
Going through
he was
the roof.
superb. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and as he came up, I pointed to Al and I said, he wants to be your senior correspondent. And he said, done. But we had a really great interview with him, and we asked him, he did Rosewater at that time.
He
And we asked him,
directed
we
when he
said,
directed that.
I
what's-
enjoyed that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What scene touched you? And he just kind of stopped. Like nobody'd asked him that question before. And he said, wow. He said, it was the scene where he was talking to his wife. that was the scene that got me. And he went on by. We have it online.
Awesome. And speaking of online, the website, as I mentioned, is called Movies and Shakers. And you got reviews on there. I was on there earlier today. So you got written reviews, but as you sort of scroll down, you have this whole archive of video interviews that you guys are going to, all these festivals that we're talking about.
Great design, isn't it?
It's a wonderful website. Yeah, no, it's a
The
great looking
designer
website.
is very special
Absolutely. And
special to us.
you got all these interviews on there as well. So do you guys update that thing basically almost daily, because it's pretty
Sure.
fresh?
Well, every review goes up immediately. We just wrote Shazam.
Yeah, which
Today.
we'll be talking about.
Yeah, but we've also done a lot of interviews at festivals. We like to cover festivals and red carpets and one-on-ones. We just work really well together. What questions I don't come up with, he comes up with, and we like to shoot and edit our own stuff and put it up. And we just were at South by Southwest and got some really good stuff. So it's up there.
Why can't me and you have this kind of relationship, Ryan?
Oh, we sort of do, I guess.
Put a ring on it.
Yeah. He's been saying that to me for years.
Good times. Well, Al and Linda Lerner are sitting in on this entire Jaw. For the Jawheads that do want to check out the reviews and the interviews, the website is
moviesandshakers.com.
it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
I like it. It's got a nice ring to it, too.
It does.
Movies and Shakers. Who came up with that?
Me,
It's good.
No, she didn't.
I'm the writer.
I shouldn't have got it started. Now, we like to end our
We
guest.
won't bicker about it.
We like to end our guest interviews with a silly cinema cue. Phil, you got something for Al and Linda?
I do. So since we don't very often have couples in the studio, I do have a very special announcement. For this week's Cinema Q, I'm proud to announce that you guys have won a Dream Stephen King couples vacation. You have one of two options. You can either take a beautiful road trip through the cornfields of Gatlin, Nebraska,
Beautiful.
or you can have an extended stay over a long weekend at the luxurious and beautiful Overlook Hotel. Which one do you guys choose?
Well,
I'll let you choose.
I have bad memories in cornfields already.
Oh, that's right. He used to be a skydiver, and that ended his career.
I missed the drop zone and got a corn stalk up my butt. But so we'll go with the hotel. Thank you.
It is
as
all
long
yours.
as it's not winter and you're snowed in there.
Yeah,
it's-
that's right.
It's a nice place.
Yeah, see who comes out alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Oh, boy. All right. Like I said, Al and Linda sitting in on this entire Jaw. This is going to be a blast, man.
Indeed, yes.
Brings us to a segment called Eye for an Eye.
Yes, Eye for an Eye this week, Hellboy. Based on the graphic novels by Mike Mignola, Hellboy, caught between the worlds of the supernatural and human, battles an ancient sorceress bent on revenge. This time around, David Harbour, best known for Stranger Things, steps into the role of Hellboy, and joining him is Mila Jovovich as Nimu, the Blood Queen. The film is directed by Neil Marshall, who previously directed 2005's The Descent. Rye, we throw it on over to you.
Did you say The Descent? Ooh, got me intrigued here. Full disclosure, I've never seen the Hellboy movies.
You should.
None.
You really
Really?
should.
You don't like Ron
I'm
Perlman?
with you. I
want,
haven't either.
I want to see him now
Oh.
because we're coming into this reboot. So I'm intrigued in checking out the originals. Not so much this one, though. An ignore for me.
Yeah.
Matt?
Shockingly, Ryan, I'm on the same page with you. I just don't know how you're going to top the Ron Perlman stuff. They did it. It was good. I mean, that's Del Toro. Don't mess with it. This looks kind of schlocky and cash grabby.
Al, how do you feel on this one?
I tend to agree. I really enjoyed Ron Perlman. I just watched in preparation for the new one. Just watched some of his previous work, and you know what? He really has the right vibe, and I wonder if they're going to be able to capture that sort of kind of snarky, satirical kind of vibe again with the new one.
Is that an ignore?
No, I would not ignore it because I like the character, so I'd be interested to see it.
We'll give him an interested. Linda?
I'm on Twitter with Ron Perlman, and I get some very interesting feedback from him about a lot of things, particularly politics. I'm kind of intrigued to see it, and so I probably will see it, but
But you're worried?
I'm a little apprehensive.
Slight interested. Phil, where do we stand?
I always hate breaking the tie, But I'm also pretty interested. Kind of like Alan and Linda were saying, Hellboy's a great comic. What I'm most excited about. I feel like the original series was more of like a Guillermo del Toro visionary piece, whereas I'm hoping that this one's going to be a Mike Mignola visionary piece, and it's going to kind of convey the comic books in a little bit darker and grittier way than the movies did in their bombast and their color.
Sure. 3 interesteds, 2 ignores for Hellboy.
We will see it,
Yeah, I know there's a screening next week, so we'll get a review out for the Jawheads.
Of course.
But I am interested in finally. This is forcing me to see the original.
You
and see
won't
the
be
Ron
disappointed.
Perlman. I'm going to check it out this weekend for sure.
By the way, can I interject one thing?
Please.
I'm impressed by this operation, by the way.
Are you?
The
Cinemajaw?
Yes.
Oh,
Absolutely.
You jawheads don't realize how lucky you are to have this program coming to you from these opulent headquarters.
Surroundings.
That means a lot because these guys are professionals,
Yeah.
you know? So,
Oh, we've been in some pretty interesting studios.
I've worked in some hellholes.
Yeah.
but-
We've been in some interesting hellholes as well.
like a closet.
so we
Or a
somewhat
phone
know
booth.
what we're doing, is what you're saying, Al.
Oh, hell yes.
Oh, yes.
That's good.
Good.
We got a vote of confidence from the learners.
Much appreciated.
I feel good, Matt.
you.
All right. Speaking of new movies here, guys, after the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight series, DC movies seem to lose their way for a while. Misses like Green Lantern and Suicide Squad came by, and their connected universe seemed rushed. See Batman v Superman. However, in 2017, they had a bona fide hit on their hands in Wonder Woman. Then last year, the surprisingly fun box office smash Aquaman. This leads us to their latest offering, Shazam. Would this film whimper out like a scared, inexperienced 15-year-old boy? Or would it find the magic and live up to the high standards of a great superhero film? Matt and I grabbed our magic 8-ball, gave it a shake, and waited for an answer.
You're him. You're the hero.
You're welcome for not getting robbed.
I'm Batman.
Get him back in.
How old are you? Basically 15.
The film opens in upstate New York in 1974. A father and his 2 sons driving in a car. This scene thrusts us into the story in a hurry. It is compelling, shocking, and gives us a quick story on who our villain is going to be. Flash forward to present-day Philadelphia, and that is where we meet 15-year-old Billy Batson. Hold on. I need to add some magic to this review. Let me grab my magic staff and say, Shazam!
Whoa. Suddenly I'm taller and better looking. It's like I'm a super critic. Okay, Billy Batson has run away from foster home after foster home on a quest to find his real mom. After a run-in with the cops, he's placed in yet another home and quickly makes friends with his foster siblings, especially Freddie Freeman, a disabled boy about his age who is obsessed with superheroes. Foreshadowing. While running from a team of bullies, Billy stumbles into / is summoned to the lair of a wizard named Shazam, who has been searching for a champion and finds one in Batson. Shazam gives him his powers in order to fight 7 demons, the deadly sins, and Billy is transformed into an adult superhero played by Zachary Levi. Hilarity ensues. This is a fairly straightforward superhero origin story. What makes it different is the high level of fun and the youth power fantasy of suddenly becoming a grown-up. That and the chemistry between Jack Dylan Grazer, who plays Freddy, Asher Angel, who plays Billy, and Zach Levi, who plays Captain Marvel. Which brings me to another thing. There, I said it. Captain Marvel. People familiar with this character, like the guy sitting next to me who squeaked and yeehawed at every little Easter egg, will know that he was once called Captain Marvel, though in this film he's never even given an official superhero moniker. I think this was a wasted opportunity, but that's a minor dig. Another small gripe, no spoiler here, but the end credit sequence is animated over a Ramones song. Spider-Man Homecoming, their end credit sequence is animated over a Ramones song. Seriously, watch the 2 of them back to back. It's the same thing. I enjoyed it, but very derivative. It's a minor gripe, though. This movie is fun. The performances are warm and sympathetic. The villain is cool and menacing enough to be interesting. But, Shazam!
Oh, wow. Got my good looks back. In short here, Matt, I enjoyed Shazam.
Way to bring that home, Ryan. That was fun.
It was fun.
It's weird transforming into you and vice
Now,
versa.
you were sitting next to somebody who actually knew
Oh
the
my
character
God,
and
did
was
he
going
ever.
nuts. I was sitting next to Al and Linda Lerner. What did you guys think of Shazam?
Well, I agree with what you said about the end credits because I thought right away about Spider-Verse.
Yeah,
I mean, it
not
just reminded-
Spider-Verse, Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh, okay.
But same thing.
It was a similar kind of thing, though.
Yeah.
And the changing of the names. You know, I had read also about the Captain Marvel connection.
Well, that's an age-old thing.
Yeah, but they kept changing his name in there until they, hit on Shazam or whatever it is, and to get the power.
Yeah.
I thought it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was fun, and he's a great character.
Yeah, and that fun comes from Zachary Levi, who plays it just perfectly. I can't even imagine somebody else playing it better than he
He's a
pulled it off.
caricature.
Yeah, the movie is derivative also of Big as well.
Right. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, they even pay an homage to Big.
I have that
this-
in my notes, yes.
In this movie as well, which is a lot of fun. And the other thing is that this, and I think Zachary Levi captures this very well. All of a sudden, you're a 14 or a 15-year-old boy, and you're in an adult's body. What do you do first? What do you do first?
You go and buy beer.
You go and buy beer and then go to a strip club.
Of course.
Of course. I mean, though that kind of sensibility and bringing that fun, that playfulness to it, I thought was very nice.
Well, it made him very human.
It did. And,
did.
going into this, I'm not nearly as familiar with these comic book characters as Matt is. So going into it, for instance, last week on Cinemajaw, our trivia was funny superhero movie trivia in honor of Shazam. But I didn't think the movie itself was going to have such a serious side to it as well. And I
Yeah.
think that's what I enjoyed so much is, yes, there was the funniness of this 14-year-old boy, 15-year-old boy becoming a superhero, but I had no idea that it was going to be so dark, serious.
It's a straightforward superhero movie.
Right.
Well,
it actually
I
had
enjoyed
a plot.
that.
It actually had a plot.
And it was
had
a good plot.
story.
Well, Sandberg,
Yeah.
the director, has a horror background, so he brought some of that. I mean, that opening scene you referenced is absolutely horrific. I thought that the Seven Deadly Sins were less so. I kind of found them kind of stock CGI. You got to have one with a long tongue, another one with the big fingers that look like knives, and everybody has the big scary teeth. I thought they were less horrific than
Gluttony was pretty when it
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
opens
Oh,
up its
yeah.
mouth. That was kind of cool.
Yeah,
but I
that
agree
was
with you. We were talking about that on the car ride home. I think maybe they dialed that back to make it a little more kid friendly. And there's no
Maybe.
blood when the Seven Sins attack.
No,
Correct.
and also the way they disappear, you've seen a million times. That kind of
The
effect.
smoke thing, yeah.
Yeah.
and the Savannah family Thanksgiving dinner was that was in the boardroom. That scene in the boardroom was that was pretty.
That was amazing.
That was
It
pretty
was.
rough. That
Straight
was
out of
pretty rough.
RoboCop.
That was pretty
yeah.
rough stuff as
yeah.
well. So
Lots of broken glass.
Yeah.
Oh, tons of broken glass.
Alrighty, sounds like there's a lot to like. Let's start it off with best and worst parts of Shazam.
A favorite scene for me was the Bulletproof scene. When he goes to buy beer and discovers that he is impervious to bullets. That's not a spoiler. It's in the trailer. So.
For mine, number one, we haven't mentioned him. Mark Strong's performance as the villain. I think in all these kind of comic book movies, the stronger the villain, the better the movie. And boy, is Mark Strong fantastic as.
Would you say he was strong?
He was strong in this role. And then I really did like the humor that they balance in with the action. And two quick examples is the first time Shazam actually flies is he's falling down and he closes his eyes, he opens his eyes, and he's basically floating above the ground.
Levitating slightly.
And there's that moment there for a couple of seconds where he realizes that he's floating, and then a bus comes and whacks him. That kind of balance with the humor was spot on. But for my best scene, and I've talked about, I hate how in these Marvel movies, really superhero movies in general, these characters were allowing them to communicate so easily on screen. They can literally be talking over here, and everybody hears them. This has been a major
Right, they're
complaint
miles
of mine.
apart, but somehow
miles
they-
apart,
But-
sometimes out of the country, and somehow Tony Stark can talk to anybody instantly. Do they all hear that? I don't know how it works. Well, what do they do here is this wonderful scene where Shazam goes up. The villains are probably about, a mile away from him, but they're flying. And the villain goes into this big speech that they always do. And then they
The
cut
monologue,
to
yes.
Shazam, and he's so far away that he can't hear him talking. Like, why would you be able to hear him talk? Oh, did I love that. That was like my favorite scene.
Okay. Note to writer: give him super hearing next time.
It was fantastic. As far as a bad scene,
Yeah, what you got, Ryan?
Nothing really for me. I didn't have like a one moment. Maybe the homage actually to Big, because I felt it enough was already there. Especially when
liked that.
when they come out of the store where they go to buy the beer, and then I don't want to ruin that joke, but then they come out again with the snacks and the candy. Right at that point, I thought, boy, is this just like Big? You know, it already had the feeling.
Yeah.
And I thought when they did the homage a little bit later, like a little on the head here. I mean, I think everybody felt Big already.
Yeah, but I thought that scene, the homage to Big, and I won't say what it was, but the way they came out of it was just kind of awkward. They didn't play it right. I think they could have done better. with
Literally?
it. Yeah, I think they
Liter-
could.
literally.
Literally.
Can I give you a see? I thought that the he ends up Billy ends up in a group home in this spacious house in Philadelphia with this loving couple who's the foster parents who take in all of these kids, and I thought that whole family dynamic felt forced and inauthentic and kind of
Really?
clunky, and it until later in the movie. I won't give that spoiler away until everyone emerges. In they flower, they blossom. But I felt that those scenes did not feel very authentic
I'm
to
going
me.
to bicker with you on that one.
Okay.
Because I think that little girl was absolutely adorable, and she had a lot of good punchlines.
She
Are we
did.
talking
The
about
littlest girl, the
yeah?
littlest
What
one.
was her name? Can we throw that in the jaw
Throw it
box?
in the jaw box.
Okay, Phil will get us the facts during the break.
And I agree with you, and she has to keep
do
a
too.
secret at one point, and it was very cute the way that played
She was
out.
cute. She was good. I thought the dynamic with the brothers and the sisters, and Billy having to go, "You're not my brother. You're not my."
I thought one of my favorite scenes, though, was when the bullies get their due.
Yeah, no
great.
doubt. I agree.
What about influences other than Big, of course?
I mean, that's what I got. I got Spider-Man: Homecoming and Big.
Oh, you're missing a big one. No
Okay.
pun intended. The Greatest American Hero TV show.
Oh yeah, dude, good call.
Oh yes.
Especially during the flying test, which is in the trailer where they're asking like if he can fly. Boy, did that not remind me of the television show. I'm almost positive that's almost just like that, where he's trying to fly for the very first time.
Phil and our intern Corbin have no idea what you're talking about, Ryan. I guarantee you guys know what we're talking about. The Greatest American Hero. Corbin's wagging his
Oh.
head. Phil doesn't know either.
Throw that in the fish tank, Phil. When that came out, that had to be early 80s.
I think that show was only on 2 seasons.
But millions of lunchboxes sold.
Did you have one?
Of course I did. Right next to my A-team lunchbox.
What did you guys learn?
That fun can be enough. I mean, don't get me wrong. This movie is good. It's well crafted. But I think the thing that it rests on most of all is fun. And that's okay.
I learned that, believe it or not, this is not a joke, DC knows how to have fun. So I was
Finally.
with you on the
They
fun
needed
line.
to.
And they needed to. And I
Yes.
think it's something that I think they were trying to catch up with Marvel, that they were so tied up with that they weren't just relaxed and having fun with their own characters. And they seem to have done that the last few movies. Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Shazam all have an element of fun to them again.
It's more than fun. It's poking fun at themselves.
Sure.
To a certain extent. I think,
agree.
and that works.
Yeah.
All right. There's a nice learn in this movie. Actually, there's actually a message in this movie. Message I took away from it's not enough to have superpowers. It's you have to learn how to use your superpowers.
I think what you're trying to say is with great power comes
Great
great responsibility.
Exactly. And that's the learn going on. And of course, they will be 2 and 3 and 4
Oh,
and
yeah.
5, and that will be part of the journey that he's going to go on.
Well, and also don't take yourself too seriously.
This is true.
It's got a touch of Deadpool in there as well.
A little bit,
Yes.
a little bit.
Just a skosh.
Yep.
Alrighty, then how about movie poster quotes for Shazam?
Here's my quote. Captain who? And take that as you will.
Yeah, I hate to one-up you again, Matt, but I'm going to do it again. My movie poster quote is 1.21 gigawatts of fun.
I don't get the reference.
It's a bolt of lightning.
Oh, geez. That's a stretch, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you won up to me there.
All right. How many jaws? We're on a 4-jaw scale. Al, how many jaws for Shazam?
Can I use half jaws?
You bet.
Okay, 3.5 jaws.
Linda?
I was going to say same.
I'll go a solid 3.
I'll go a solid 3 as well. So we all enjoyed Shazam?
It was good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you agree with our review or disagree or have a comment about that review, write us feedback at cinemajaw.com. Now, Billy Batson is an unlikely hero, so
sure.
that is our top 5 this week. Unlikely heroes in movies. Linda, you want to get us started?
I have a lot of unlikely heroes, but I'll start with 3-in-1 movie,
Oh, my goodness.
Wizard of Oz.
Oh, yeah.
Tin
sure.
Man, Scarecrow, and who's the other one?
Cowardly Lion.
Cowardly
Cowardly
Lion.
Lion.
Well, the lion's one of my favorites. I love him. Yeah,
Definitely
but they
unlikely.
Are very unlikely.
I have to say, since my family's probably listening, Parker, my son, got cast as the Cowardly Lion in his school's production of The Wiz. We're very proud. So shout out to
Wow.
Parker.
Ah,
Good
Good.
pick, Linda.
thank you.
Are you making a costume?
No. I mean, the school will.
Yeah, the school.
Yeah,
you
they
give a
actually, it's like
costume.
an art school, so they
Ooh.
go all out.
Ooh, very
Yeah.
good.
Well, I
very
might have
cool.
to
Big,
attend
big
that
production
one.
values. Yeah, come on out.
I
All the
love it.
proceeds benefit the school. It's great.
Cool.
Al, what do you got sitting at number 5?
Number 5. I'll go with the 3. I'll stay with the 3. The 3 theme here. 3 Amigos.
Nice.
Yes.
Great pick. I love that movie.
Yeah, I mean the 3 schlubs on horseback with big sombreros, and they have no idea how to be heroes, and they pull it off.
I agree. All right, that swings it to me. At number 5, I'm going to go with a superhero, Hit Girl from Kick-Ass. Did not expect this little girl to be quite as effective and lethal, though it may not be a good profession for her. She's certainly very good at it. And she is playing the hero, defeating all the villains. I thought it was pretty unlikely.
All right.
I like Kick-Ass.
Yeah,
Not so big on Kick-Ass 2.
I'm with you on that. But the first one was good.
My number 5 is a character known as Waste Allocation Load Lifter Earth Class, better known as Wall-E.
Oh, you.
Did you?
Took it away from
I think you might
him.
have stolen Al's.
Yeah, you
He
did.
stole
Well,
his
good.
thunder.
Good for you.
Pixar movie, 2008, that one came out, and I mean, who doesn't fall in love with Wall-E? But the idea that this little robot is left to Earth to compact all the garbage after the humans
Oh.
have left, and
Yeah.
he literally saves planet Earth, right? He
Yeah.
brings the humans back because he can save that plant and get it in the right hands, and
Oh yeah, and he wrings tears out of you.
he does.
Oh yeah,
And he gets the girl, too.
and he gets the girl.
Gets the girl.
He is a hero.
Wall-E. And I remember seeing it and thinking, come on, it looks so much like Short Circuit. Is that the movie I'm thinking of?
It is.
Yeah.
Number 5,
And-
Johnny.
And being so, down on it before I even saw the movie. And then you walk into Wall-E and it's Pixar at its best, They do good stuff.
I think that may have been the one where we finally realized Pixar can do no wrong.
Right.
This is before Brave. Yeah.
All right, we're into our 4s, Linda.
Ghostbusters.
There you go.
You guys are naming some of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
I mean, the most unlikely.
Seriously. They saved the world. At
They
least New York.
saved- Yes.
That's what made them so
And
likable
Sigourney
as
Weaver.
well, because they were, you wouldn't think that they would ever be the heroes, and that's what makes them so popular.
Right.
It's awesome.
And they're the anti-hero heroes. Well,
Yeah.
very good. Yeah, that was on my list too.
Wow.
My
But I
turn.
get to
Is
go
it my
first.
turn?
Sure, go ahead, Al.
I'm going to go back in history now.
Okay.
We'll go black and white
Nice.
for this one, and we're going to go to James. We're going to go to the man who shot Liberty Valance.
I'm not familiar with this one. I've heard of the movie, certainly. Never
I have
seen
not
it.
seen it either. This has come up on Cinemajaw in the past.
So we have this.
Gary Cooper, right?
No, it's not Gary. Who's in Washington? Who's Jimmy Stewart?
There you
Stewart.
go.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Jimmy
that's another
Stewart.
unsung hero.
Jimmy Stewart is a schlubby sodbuster in this little backhole town, and the bad guy. I mean, the awful gunslinger is coming to take over the town, and the townsfolk need a hero to stand up to him, and the sheriff runs off, and the marshal and no lawman, and all of a sudden it's up to Jimmy Stewart to save the town, and he has no idea, and he knows he is dead meat, but somehow, and I won't give it away, somehow he kills Liberty Valance.
Jimmy Stewart did a lot of those roles, though. He did
I didn't know he did a lot of westerns.
not westerns. He was an unlikely hero in several movies. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, and also Miracle on 34th Street.
You could make a case for It's a Wonderful Life too, and even
Yeah.
Rear Window.
Yeah.
Oh, not Miracle. Yeah,
Yes, you can make
wasn't
it.
Miracle on 34th Street.
For It's a
it was
Wonderful Life,
Life.
absolutely. But the man who shot Liberty Valance is, is
I do got to see it. John Wayne's also in the movie. I got to see this movie.
Yeah.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Matt?
All right. Okay, that brings it to my number 4, and this is where I put in, speaking of 1.21 gigawatts, George McFly.
Whoa.
The heel for the entire movie, just a sniveling coward who climbs trees to peep on girls, is a nerd, is socially awkward, but when he opens that car door and says, "Hey, you, get your damn hands off her," he has his moment to shine. He makes a fist and he clocks Biff right in the grill.
does.
And that's a transformative moment.
What else is great about that is that scene afterwards when they're at the dance and now he's got his confidence and everybody's going up to him. Hey, George, hurry, you knock Biff out,
Yeah.
You really feel good for the guy, right?
That's all you need to do. Just knock out a bully, you
Yep.
know?
Love it. My number 4, 2015 movie, also was a little worried about it because I think we'd seen this formula play out many a times, but the movie worked. Suzanne Cooper was the name of the character, played by Melissa McCarthy in Spy.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah.
So here she was working at the CIA as a analyst,
Right.
and she's more or less like in the
She's a pencil pushing desk
right,
jockey.
Yeah, totally up at the desk all the time, and she needs to go into the field and be undercover, and of course she's completely not ready for this and inexperienced.
Emotionally, but physically, she kicks ass.
She ends up, and it ends up being a really good action movie. So that's another one where it was funny, it has a great cast, and the action worked. So
Right. You think it's going to
Spy.
be a crappy fish out of water comedy, and it worked.
No, if you haven't seen it, it's well worth a spin.
I agree.
Yep.
Spy.
Spy.
Bye.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That brings us to your number 3,
3,
Linda.
Linda.
My number
Oh, boy.
3. I got a bunch of them here. Forrest Gump.
Yeah. This is a great picks, for sure. Forrest Gump?
Absolutely. Box of chocolate.
No doubt. It's like the football coach or somebody, when they see him running and they're like, oh, that's just a local idiot, right?
Right.
Because that's what the town thought of him.
Everyone dismisses him.
Right. Mm-hmm. But when you're Tom Hanks,
You can do anything.
Can
You can play piano.
Can run
just
across.
ran.
You can run across the country. You can land a plane on the Hudson. You can do anything.
You can be on an island with a basketball.
Yeah.
It's a volleyball.
It's a volleyball.
That's true. That's
It's true.
true.
It is.
It's a ball.
Nice pick with Forrest Gump. Al, what do you got?
Let's go back to 2004. Simon Pegg, Shaun of the Dead.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Honorable
knocking it out
mention
the
of
park.
mine.
Yep.
So,
It's on my list as well for
I mean,
honorables.
heading off the zombie apocalypse is always got to be on your list. So it was funny, again, funny and ironic, and had other themes working underneath as well. And there's a lot of beer. So there you go.
And it's an absolute love letter to George Romero, and all the zombie movies that came before. It's a favorite of mine, for sure.
All right.
All right, at number 3, I have one of the most unlikely heroes. When we meet this character, he's meek, fat, also a little cowardly, certainly forgetful.
Oh, hold on. That description, I think, is my number 3 as well.
Really?
Is it in a series?
Yes.
A long series, like 8 or 9 movies?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
My number 3 is Neville Longbottom.
Yeah, Neville Longbottom. Yeah, the buck tooth sort of butt of all the jokes in the first few movies. But damn it, if he doesn't pick up the sword and attack that snake in the last movie and basically saves Harry's ass and the entire world.
I was watching that scene, getting ready for the show today, and I was shocked because he gives a really good speech there too. I mean, he really
it's
gets
like
his
a
confidence.
Braveheart moment.
My understanding is his arc was much more defined in the books. Now, you've read the books,
You
right?
still haven't?
I have not.
You must be the last person alive.
No. But in the movies, I think that's where I would fault some of the movies. Like, that really, to me, as just a Harry Potter movie watcher and not reading the books, came out of sort of nowhere. I didn't see his story arc progress the way it did in probably
Sure.
the last 2 movies compared to the rest of the series.
Yeah, Neville goes through a lot in the books, a lot. And so you get to see his character sort of grow, and but he doesn't, it's still unlikely, even in the novels, for him to find that hero inside. So it's a great moment to see on the screen.
My number 3 as well, Mr. Longbottom. So that brings us into our twos. Linda, what do you got there?
This is getting tough, but I liked Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah.
I thought he was an unlikely hero of sorts and very picturesque.
Is he a hero?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's the hero of the story.
Yeah,
he
he
goes through
is.
the hero's journey. There's an old man in a cave on a hill. Cave being in air quotes. He's the hero.
Yeah.
He saves the girl from the bully.
Yes, he does.
One of the last great performances by
Don't
Jack.
say that.
is it Anthony Michael Hall? What's that guy's name? Is that right? Throw it into the jaw box. Phil, who's the actor who plays the bully in Edward Scissorhands? He was also in Breakfast Club. You know who I'm talking
Yes,
about.
Anthony
yeah, he
Michael
was.
Hall.
Oh,
Is
Anthony
that-
Michael
okay.
Hall. Yes, yes,
You can
yes, it is.
You can remove it from the jaw box, Phil.
Al,
great
what do you
pick.
got sitting at 2?
At 2, I've got Elijah Wood in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Good old Frodo.
Frodo.
Good old Frodo. 4 feet of rock'em sock'em. Let's go to Middle Earth. So I mean, he's again scared. He's unsure of himself, and he steps up whenever they really need him. He steps up. So I think Peter Jackson. I wonder how much of that was him or Peter Jackson's direction that made that so wonderful, so wonderful a character. But it's one for the ages.
Well, you got to give some credit to Tolkien as well for creating Frodo.
absolutely.
Okay, all
He
right.
started it.
He did.
All right, Jay.
I'm the buzzkill. All right. At number 2, here's another one who we meet, and he's just a total whiner. Like when he says, Uncle Owen, this R2 unit's got a bad motivator. Luke Skywalker did not see that coming. Thought Han Solo was going to be the hero. Everybody did.
No.
Luke is a whiny baby when we meet him. I almost
he
didn't
is.
want him to become the hero. He sniveled so bad. I just didn't like Luke at first. Didn't like him really until he's in the X-Wing attacking the Death Star at the end.
I love Luke. I love when the first time they see the Millennium Falcon and he's like, "What, this?" He's like, "Oh my God, I could buy my own ship for this." And he's like, "Yeah, who's gonna fly it, kid?" He's like, "I'm not such a bad pilot. Let's get out of here, Ben." He says. It's great.
Yeah, but he's a whiny jerk. Like, I don't like this kid. I don't want to see him become the hero, but somehow he sure did. And wow, what a hero.
Especially in the 3 movies, he's so confident in Jedi. It's awesome.
When R2 shoots the green lightsaber to
the
him.
best.
Oh, what a moment.
My number 2, I believe the character's name is Russell Casey. I may be wrong on that. Played wonderfully by Randy Quaid in Independence Day.
Nice.
And if you'll recall, he is in the beginning talking about how he's been abducted by aliens and people are laughing at him and he's sort of the town drunk and looks like he's got nothing on the horizon. And lo and behold, once the aliens come, now everybody sort of maybe believes this guy again. And he has that great heroic moment where he flies up into the spaceship and he says, "Hello, boys, I'm back."
Yeah,
What a moment.
it is. Yeah, I love that character. Man, poor Randy Quaid. He's sort of gone off the deep end a little bit. But he was great back in the day. I miss him. I miss the good
he
Randy
had some
Quaid.
problems in his life. Poor guy.
Yeah, I feel bad. I definitely do.
All right, these are our number 1 unlikely heroes. Linda, you're up first.
Well, I really like 2 characters from another movie that probably isn't that popular, but it was War of the Planet of the Apes. Maurice and Bad Ape really were very cool, unlikely heroes. And they sacrificed themselves in that movie for other people or things.
You just made Ryan's day. He's a big
I love
Apes
those
fan.
movies. Yeah, who
love
doesn't
that
like the
movie.
Apes movies?
But that one was particularly touching. I thought had a lot of emotion to it.
It did.
I
Big
loved
fan.
Maurice carrying the little girl on his back.
So good. And they're CGI characters, and they have that emotional connection with them. I agree with you. Totally.
Well, that was an Andy Serkis performance, yeah?
Yes, it was.
I mean, that guy is just
Amazing.
The physical aptitude that he has.
Amazing.
Unparalleled.
Al, you're number one.
You'll never guess this one in a million years. It's a musical.
Oh, wait,
And-
I actually think
I'm
I have
stumped.
a guess.
Well, you think?
I do. Wait, is there a talking plant in the musical?
There is.
Okay.
You do. Yeah, Seymour in Little Shop of Horrors. I mean, who is more unlikely than this nebbish guy
Yeah.
who raises the plant that's going to eat everyone? You know, it does eat everyone.
And we know who he's played by.
Rick Moranis.
That's right.
The main man. I miss Rick Moranis.
So we
I
have
do
we have him in
too.
we
He
have him
was
in two movies. We have him in Ghostbusters and here. So
Yeah.
so I just love his character, and I love how again this hero's evolution and with song. How can you beat that?
Yeah, Suddenly Seymour, still one of my favorites from that movie.
Yes.
Yeah, Bill Murray pops up too. That's a great movie. I think more people should revisit it. All right, that brings it to my number one, I believe. And in all honesty, I had Frodo. So I'm going to do an audible and sub one that hasn't been mentioned yet. And I'm going to give some props to Chunk from the Goonies.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
We were talking about that.
Chunk gets bullied a lot. He gets pushed around. They force him to do the truffle shuffle. We don't think much of Chunk at the beginning of the Goonies, but damn it if he doesn't find Sloth, go and rescue the Goonies from having to walk the plank, and they get away with the rich stuff in the end. So thanks to Chunk.
It's a good pick, Matt.
Thanks, man. What do you got?
I went outside of the box here. Went with another Pixar movie. I
Wow.
believe Pixar actually has a lot of unlikely heroes. That's what makes some of their movies,
So touching.
Yeah, absolutely. My number one, a movie I love, Inside Out, unlikely hero, sadness.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
And I rewatched the scene again, getting ready for today's,
You're
show.
so emo.
And here you got Riley, who ran away from her house. She's unable to deal or express how she's feeling. And inside that head, in the control room, sadness finally takes control of the control board. And with that, Riley starts to feel sad and ends up coming home and finally is able to express herself to her parents that she misses Minnesota. And, it teaches us a lot, right? It teaches the kids exactly, that you need all these emotions. It's not just everything's happy and laughing all the time, but that sadness plays a key part in everybody's lives. The whole movie, the thing's a masterpiece.
Right. It's about emotional maturity, too, because the sadness combines with the joy. And
Joy,
she learns
exactly.
about bittersweet and melancholy and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I literally watched it. It was only probably about 4 minutes, and I swear to God, I was emotional watching that. And I was eating my mustard chili, and I was watching that, and I was getting all teary eyed, and I thought I gotta rewatch the whole.
Was it the
whole
Bing
from
Bong
start.
scene? Ooh.
Great one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick time for some honorable mentions that were not talked about.
I hit all mine. What do you guys got?
You got some more?
I have a couple more. I thought about Deep Throat in All the President's Men because he's really an unlikely hero.
Wow,
Yeah.
I was nervous for a moment where you go with that.
A few weeks ago we did our
I like to
favorite
keep you
sex
guessing.
movies, and that one came up actually. Deep Throat. the
Oh, there
original.
you go.
Yeah.
And the other one, I thought Jennifer Jason Leigh in Hateful Eight was kind of an unlikely hero of sorts. Mm-hmm. It's a stretch.
Yeah.
Bit of a stretch, but I mean certainly an unlikely, amazing role for her.
Amazing role.
Yeah.
And she was became stronger and stronger as the movie went on.
Two that were not mentioned for me: Shrek.
Oh yeah, Shrek was on my list.
But I was just getting so many animated movies. I thought I can't go 3 animated movies on this list. And Lucas. Remember what was that? Corey
It was Corey Haim.
It was
no,
Haim?
no, no,
No, it was
Sean
Feldman.
Astin. Speaking
No,
of,
it wasn't Sean Astin.
Speaking
it was
of
Corey Feldman.
Speaking of the
Oh, it
Goonies,
was Haim. It was Haim. Corey
it
Haim.
was Sean Astin.
It was
no,
Corey
wait, no.
Haim.
I'm thinking of Rudy. You're right.
Yeah.
Right.
And another.
Oh, another,
Rudy is one.
another
Rudy,
one.
Rudy's another
Yeah,
one.
that's another one. a big
What
one.
about Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
Yeah. Totally.
And Ripley from Alien.
Yeah.
She was never a shrinking violet in this, but she just had to endure what she, in the original, what she endured, to beat to fight off.
Yeah. H.R.
That was-
Geiger's nightmares.
Yeah, I mean that is when that was truly a monster that still to this day terrifies me.
And back then, what was that, late 70s, 78,
Yeah.
79? There weren't a lot of strong female action stars. So
None.
Oh.
Yeah.
she was kind of a prototype.
Yep.
Great pick, guys.
I agree.
All right. If we missed your favorite unlikely hero and you have Twitter pulled up, shoot us a tweet at Cinemajaw. We'll retweet it and get the discussion going. Or you can always write us an email, feedback@cinemajaw.com. What we're going to do is take a break, Matt. When we come back, we have a Cinema War looking at the original Pet Sematary trivia and spoiler lounge with us.
Can't wait.
Yes. Stick with us.
Let's all go to the lobby.
In honor of Cinemajaw's Stephen King Month, we brace ourselves for this grisly scene in 1990's Misery.
Paul, do you know about the early days at the Kimberley diamond mines? Do you know what they did to the native workers who stole diamonds? Don't worry, they didn't kill them. That would be like junking a Mercedes just because it had a broken spring. No, if they caught them, they had to make sure they could go on working. But they also had to make sure they could never run away. The operation was called hobbling.
Annie, whatever you're thinking about doing, please don't do it. Annie, for God's,
Shh, darling. Trust me.
God's sake.
It's for the best.
Annie, please!
Almost done. Just one more. God, I love you.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go
Hey,
to
Jawheads, this is Matt Kay with a quick reminder. You can catch Cinemajaw anywhere you find podcasts, like Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and now Spotify. That's right, we are on Spotify. You probably listen to a bunch of music at work or something like that. Just pull up Cinemajaw. It's very convenient for you. And while you're there, click subscribe. It's one extra button, and you will never miss an episode. And thanks.
to get ourselves a treat.
And we are back on Cinemajaw, hanging out with Al and Linda Lerner. Just got to hear a fun clip from Stephen King's Misery.
Man, that was a great clip.
I'm looking at my feet right now.
My heart is pumping.
It's a great scene. Horrific, but great scene.
Again, for the Jawheads who want to check out your reviews and your interviews, the best place to do so online is?
Moviesandshakers.com.
Awesome.
Do it, Jawheads.
All right, before we get to the big cinema war and some trivia, we threw a few items into the fish tank, and I know Phil wants to swim up to the top, so let's open up that fish tank.
Wait a moment! It's fish! Isn't it?
DC! Wake up! Wake up! No, Pat, it's a giant glass bowl. Hey, get some fish folk.
Who's coming with me besides Flipper? Here.
That's a Sicilian message. It means local brassy sleeps with the fishes.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Hey guys, it's really good to be out, mostly because I am still very, very shook. Just to paint the picture here so the Jawheads know, obviously I'm in the fish tank, and what that means is I'm on the opposite side of everybody else. So I have my own view of everything going on. And so while we were playing the Misery clip, everyone else just heard it. But Corbin, our intern, and I were forced to watch this again. and I realized I think I've
What do you
only
mean forced?
I actually I realized I think I've only ever seen that scene once in my life, and then every subsequent viewing of that film, I did what I did tonight, where it's like I
Turn
do not,
away.
yeah, and because I would rather watch every junior year health class video 1,000 times before I see this again. I don't know if everyone else has that same reaction, but
Not at all. I laughed out loud. I watched it today on YouTube.
I can't do it.
It's great.
Oh, it gives me the GB. Even now,
like
I'm
it.
still like, I shouldn't have said anything. That being said, we'll get through this together with our fish tank questions. Our first one: what was the little girl's, the younger foster sister's name in Shazam? So that character's name was Darla Dudley, and she was portrayed by two different actresses throughout the film. The older one was Megan Good, but obviously the one that we were talking about in the show tonight was by Faith Herman. That was the child version. Then when did The Greatest American Hero come out? The original run on ABC ran from March 18th, 1981 to February 3rd, 1983, and it had 3 seasons and a comic book, a spin-off, The Greatest Heroine, and then they're actually been trying to reboot it with who else but Phil Lord and Chris Miller of the Lego Movie and Into the Spider-Verse trying to remake that.
That is interesting.
Wow. Was that everything?
That is all we got.
All right, jump back in that fish tank.
Will do.
Matt, it brings us to a segment called
Cinema War.
The Cinema War. It works like this. Me and Matt, we're fighting on a topic. Our guests, Al and Linda, get to play judge, jury, and executioner and tell the jawheads at home who they think won the Cinema War.
Loser gets hobbled.
No. That's scary.
Or axed.
Yeah. Actually, the winner gets 20 seconds of jaw time to rant and rave on whatever we want. It's Stephen King month here on Cinemajaw. What's the Cinema War topic, Phil?
Yes, today we fight over, is the original Pet Sematary a horror classic? Matt, you're going to be fighting for, yes, absolutely it's a horror classic. And Ryan, you've got, no, absolutely not. Pet Sematary is not a horror classic.
Well, this is like high school debate.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Let this roaring debate of a cinema war begin.
Pet Sematary, a horror classic? It's not even Stephen King classic. You never hear it mentioned with the likes of Misery, The Shining, or Stand By Me. Pet Sematary is subpar horror and subpar King adaptation. It should not have been resurrected.
Stand By Me is not a horror movie, Ryan. And I don't often start Cinema Wars out this way, but are you out of your goddamn mind? Steve Barton of Dread Central gave it 4 out of 5 stars and called it one of the best Stephen King adaptations. And even better than that, our beloved Gene Siskel gave it 0 stars, and his movie poster quote was one word: sickening. That is probably the single greatest endorsement a horror movie can get.
Regan's head turning around, They're Here from Poltergeist, the iconic music from Halloween. Horror classics have a moment or a scene or an element that is unforgettable. Pet Sematary has none of this. When talking about Pet Sematary, you don't ask the person what your favorite scene was, but more like, can you remember any scene from that movie?
Wow.
Because, Matt, it's forgettable.
You're wrong. You're wrong. And if you want to talk about a song, here's the real smoking gun. It seems very stylish right now for movies to end with Ramones songs these days. Pet Sematary did this way back in 1989, way ahead of its time. Plus, it's the only Ramones song that was written specifically for the film that it is in, and it became one of their greatest hits. That alone qualifies this movie as a classic.
To the scorecard we go. The Conjuring, 85% fresh on the tomatoes. Psycho, 97%. Rosemary's Baby, 99% fresh. These are classics. The original Pet Sematary, 50%. It's rotten, Matt. I'm not alone. It was not a good movie, let alone a horror classic.
I don't know if Tomatoes judges horror movies properly. Pet Sematary also brought Fred Gwynne's career back from the dead. Where else outside of My Cousin Vinny or the Car 54 remake can you catch a serious Fred Gwynne performance? Where, Ryan? Nowhere but the Pet Sematary. It gave us 2 Utes.
So many great films come from Stephen King stories, but this was not one of them. I rewatched it recently and was shocked how dull it was. It was slow, poorly acted, not scary, just an overall dud. To call it a horror classic is criminal. Let's bury this argument.
Oh, man. All right, I want to leave you with this. You said there were no memorable scenes or moments. Little Miko Hughes, no relation to any other Hugheses, one of the creepiest horror kids of all times. His tiny little hands holding that scalpel, slicing people's Achilles tendons, scared the bejeebus out of me. I still get the willies every time I see a little kid holding a scalpel. Classic moments from a classic horror film. This is, of course, it is a classic, Ryan. Of course it is.
We are button heads here as we do each and every week on Cinema War. We throw it to our guest, our jury. What did you guys think of this Cinema War?
I'm still trying to get my mind around every time I see a little kid with a scalpel.
I'm glad you picked up on that. Thank you. It happens every day.
Wow. Hey, kid, can you put the scalpel down, please, just for a minute, and let's pick up the crayons? Yeah. Wow. This was a spirited conversation, to say the least. A spirited debate. You made good points about, especially the Ramones and the music stuck with me. Hey, there's something classic about that. But the fact that over the years that it has not had staying power, that the movie itself, that original, hasn't moved into the pantheon of the greats in the Stephen King songbook, leads me to say that Ryan wins.
Yes.
Do you agree? Do you concur?
I have to say that I thought that you had a lot of positive points to make about the movie, and that it really stuck with you quite a bit. I thought that Ryan had some very good arguments, but I think that I'm leaning more towards the positive side here.
Oh, this is a.
Are you picking Matt?
I am picking Matt.
Oh,
what do we do, Ryan?
I know.
We need a tiebreaker.
So yeah, this is the problem when you have a couple as your guests. You get so. Where's our tie? Should we go into the?
Should we go to Phil? What do you want to do here? Or how about we both just take 20 seconds?
Let's take 20 seconds.
All right.
And I think we could talk
Ryan,
about the same
you know
thing.
what? Well done for convincing him.
No, the Joker trailer came out today.
Dude,
it looks really promising.
That's exactly what I have written down.
It looks really promising.
It looks really promising.
Yes, it does.
That was our 20 seconds.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, I could take a tie. First time ever.
All right.
I'm not happy with the tie. I want to win, or
we
to
make
me,
history here.
A tie here is a loss with Matt.
Thanks, Linda. It's a classic. It's a classic.
Now I'm pissed.
Basically, you didn't lose, Ryan, but you didn't win.
I'm upset. All right.
In the world of hockey, you still get a point. You still get
overtime.
A point.
We like to go out with a bang here and play some trivia. In honor of Hellboy, we're playing Red Character movie trivia.
Oh, geez.
Al and Linda, you're our guests. You get to choose if you want to go first or let Matt go first. There are steals, and if you get hung up on any questions, you get one trip into the fish tank for Film Me and Phil. They start off easy.
Oh.
Want to go first?
Oh, and we just have to name a red character?
No. I'm going to ask questions about
you're
it.
going to ask questions. Oh, I was all prepared. Okay.
Question 1 over to Al and Linda.
Okay.
Deadpool is known to wear a red mask. What actor is under that mask? Who plays Deadpool?
Ryan Gosling.
Oh.
Wait, they're looking. Could be a different Ryan.
Oh, Ryan
Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds, yeah.
They are on the board. 1-0, the Lerners.
Okay.
Question 2 over to Matt K. Matt, this Pixar movie that came out in 2012 saw the main character sport a crossbow and flowing red hair. Name it.
Brave. Interestingly enough, I named it earlier.
It did come up.
A rare misstep from Pixar.
1-1. Question 3 back over to the Lerners. Lightning McQueen is a red stock car in the movie Cars. Who voices him?
I don't know.
I do know, but I can't think of his name right now.
What else has he done? What else have you seen him in?
Oh, he was in a movie with Goldie Hawn at one point.
A movie with Goldie Hawn.
Yeah, but oh my God, I should know this.
Well,
I got young kids, guys. Of course I know this one.
Yeah, you do know this one.
Oh, boy. Any guess? Any guess?
I had to watch this movie like 50 times.
And I did too.
It's actually pretty decent. The first Cars is pretty decent.
I can't think of his name.
All right. No.
Matt?
Owen Wilson.
The Wilson boys.
Owen Wilson.
It was Owen.
Jeez, and I met him in an airport when I was
Luke.
taking.
You met Luke.
Oh, it was Luke at the airport in
Yeah.
Madison. Oh man.
2-1. The evil Matt K. And question 4 is over to him. Matt, Darth Maul, red face and all, killed Qui-Gon Jinn in episode 1. Who played Qui-Gon?
That was Mr. Taken himself, Liam Neeson.
3-1, Matt K. We need a big comeback here.
I don't know.
What question number was that? That
was
should
4.
have been number 1.
Question 5 over to the learners. Morgan Freeman played Ellis Boyd Redding, better known as Red, in this 1994 film based on a Stephen King short story.
Would you say it was a classic Stephen King?
Yes. Red. Stephen King jail movie.
It wasn't
Shawshank?
Shawshank, yeah.
Yeah.
3-2. Learners are crawling back into it. Question 6 over to Matt K. Matt, in the first Captain America film, this actor played Red Skull, who literally had a red skull.
Yeah. It's a super soldier experiment gone wrong. Hugo Weaving.
Wow.
Wow, you're not
Wow,
kidding.
I'm
4-2, Matt K.
I'm impressed.
Don't
I am
be.
too.
Are you impressed?
I'm impressed by that. Yeah, I didn't know that.
This is going to be tricky. You do have a lifeline here. Question 7. We all know Ben Affleck played Daredevil in the 2003 film. What actor played Bullseye in the movie?
Yeah.
You do have a lifeline. Do you want to use it?
Yeah.
Lifeline.
Fill me in, Phil. Question number 7. Who played Bullseye in the 2003 Daredevil movie?
Alrighty, Al and Linda, your guys' clue this week. Yorgos Lanthimos would say he is a lobster.
Oh, the guy who played the.
Yeah.
And I just saw that. I just watched the movie.
I can see him, but I can't think of the name.
Wasn't Ben? Not Ben. Nope.
If I give you the initials,
Yeah.
CF.
Come on, Al.
No. Nope. Don't have it.
Nope.
Matt.
Best movie eyebrows since Peter Gallagher. Is that the guy's name from American Beauty who the wife cheats on Kevin Spacey with?
I don't know.
Oh.
You know who I'm talking about, though, those eyebrows.
Yeah.
Colin Farrell.
God, that was.
Well, we should
that
have
was-
known that from. Yeah, we should have known that.
That was a scary movie too.
Which one?
Lobster.
The Lobster, yeah.
Yeah.
Great one.
For sure.
Last question.
Daredevil's also scary, but different way.
Last
Totally
question of the game over to Matt K. Matt, Inside Out, a Pixar masterpiece I mentioned, featured 4 emotions, anger being red in color. Who voiced anger in the film?
No clue. Fill me in, Phil.
Alrighty, Matt, your clue this week. Although it's not red, his last name is a color.
We know this one.
I got this one.
He's not red, but his last name is a color. Was it Jack Black?
Close. Close.
The Learners?
Lewis Black.
Yes.
Lewis Black. Wow. Matt
That
does
was
win
tight.
this one, though.
He does win.
Yeah.
Very
Can I get a handshake?
Congratulations.
Very nice. Very nice. Good.
Well played, guys. Well played.
No, we were not worthy opponents.
If
in
it
this.
came down to a tie, we call this a jawbreaker. The question would have went over to Al, actually. Would you rather be watching right now Red Sparrow with Jennifer Lawrence or Red Sonja with Bridget Nielsen?
Oh, God. Probably. Red Sparrow was so terrible. So terrible. I'll take anything over that.
Yeah, I got to go with you.
I
on
gave
that
it a
one.
positive review. I kind of liked it. It's like a kinky spy thriller. I enjoyed it.
Oh, I thought she was her accent. Oh,
Yeah, well, her
It was
accent
bad.
was pretty bad.
It was bad. Age, the real jawbreaker was this. Age of Ryan Reynolds, closest to. Matt, do you have a guess? Quickly.
Okay, Ryan Reynolds, is he older than me or younger than me? I think he might be a little younger. I'll say 36.
36, lock him in. Linda, do you got a guess?
Ryan Reynolds. I'll say 39.
Would have gave that one to Linda. 42 on Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
42.
Yeah. There you
Still,
go.
man, he's in great shape, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Playing superheroes and stuff.
Yeah. This has been a lot of fun. And we still have the spoiler lounge coming up, too. as
I'm
well.
really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're ending the traditional cinema
The
job.
traditional Cinemajaw is ending now. And first and foremost, we got to thank Al and Linda Lerner for coming on. Movies and Shakers, it's about time.
Well,
Thank you for having us.
Yes, it's
We had a good time.
A delight. I disappointed in trivia, but well,
You'll get me next time, guys.
we'll work on it.
Yes.
But do stick around because we're going to record some spoiler lounge. Yeah.
Absolutely. You also got to thank our engineer.
Oh yeah, thank you guys so much. Always happy to help out, and I do have to throw a shout out to Rye the Movie Guy. As soon as he said red character trivia, I have 2 PBRs in me and a little Japanese liver, and I'm really glad he didn't mention me in there.
There you go.
And we totally called that Stand By Me reference he was going to
Oh yeah, off the mic, stand by me, and yeah, your point.
Wow.
I
good.
made a goofy voice
Really good,
behind your
guys.
back.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
really
really
salty
happy.
about
I
this.
am.
Oh,
I
man.
am.
Get
I'm
over
upset.
it. Get over it.
Yep.
I think that's why he didn't send it to a tiebreaker, because he saw our eye contact. He would have known.
Yeah, probably.
We also got to thank the sponsors.
Yes, thanks to Cards Against Humanity and the Chicago Podcast Co-op who help us get cool sponsors.
Yes, if you'd like to support Cinemajaw, please leave us a review wherever you're listening to this podcast.
Yeah, and hey, thanks to Corbin, the intern. He's doing more stuff lately.
Absolutely. You'll
Say
probably
a little.
hear him as we go into our spoiler alert here. So until next week, I'm Rye the Movie Guy.
I'm Matt Kay, and keep on jawing about the movies.
This is a warning. You have entered the Cinemajaw Spoiler Lounge. Plot details, character deaths, twist endings, and everything in between will be discussed. Only continue forward if you have seen the movie in discussion, or do not care if something is spoiled for you. Again, this is a warning.
All right, Matt, this is our first Cinemajaw Spoiler Lounge, and we are doing Jordan Peele's Us.
I love the couches in this spoiler lounge.
really
Just
nice.
Very comfortable leather couches.
And what a great movie to do the initial one on.
Yeah,
Us.
it's got some twists and turns, man, for
Yes.
sure.
So we reviewed this a couple episodes ago, so we're not going to go through the whole review. The main thing in here is when I reviewed it on Cinemajaw is I kept talking about the subtext of the movie, and that being, in my opinion, and we'll throw this around the room, that you got the fortunate and the less fortunate, and this idea of hands across America, which plays out pretty heavily in the beginning, where the little girl in the early scenes, which would later become Lapita, is watching this as a little girl take place, hands across America, and of course later that summer she goes down into the haunted house and gets taken, right, and gets switched as the doppelganger. And I thought to myself, what an interesting concept, that imagine if you were watching that as a little girl at a time when America and society and politically the climate was, let's get together and hold hands for a cause to help the less fortunate in the world.
Right, which would become a very empty gesture in the long run, but at the time, I think people were optimistic about it.
But people were actually, I was reading about it, like cities were upset that the line wasn't going through. I mean, this was a huge deal. And what my point here, actually, Matt, was that everybody wanted to be involved. There were people people were upset that the line didn't go up like the East Coast, so forth, because they wanted to do that. That would never happen nowadays. We seem so divided, and this idea, I think, that
we'd have a blue line. We'd have a blue line and a red line.
Right? We don't care about the
That's
less
true.
fortunate anymore, and I thought that's in my interpretation of what Jordan Peele was trying to say. That. How do you guys all feel?
Well, first of all, you blew right by the huge reveal in the movie.
Oh, we'll get there also.
Okay, all right. How do I feel about that subtext?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're right. I think that's pretty much right on the head. That's kind of what the movie's about. It's about the disparity between the haves and the have-nots, right? The tethered literally live underground and are sort of like the lower class, the poor, if you will, while the others get to live out in the sun and have great lives. So, I mean, that's clearly what he was saying. It's kind of easy to pick that apart.
Well, it is. The other thing is that holding hands, being in contact with another person is inclusion. So everyone was part of it. You know, you break the chain, you break this connection to other people, and that's the other subtext here is connection to people, connection to your family, connection to your community. And when you lose that connection, as the tethered did, they had no connection to the other world. You lose the ability to speak. You lose the ability to have any power over your life. You lose the ability to have any direction in your life, and we have to get direction back.
Well, it's about equality. I mean, it's just really basically about equality, and you'd need a lot of antibacterial spray for that too. For long, now you would, because people wouldn't want to touch each other. Maybe.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's different day and age, man.
Different.
For sure.
By the way, one thing about that historical footnote about the Hands Across America, it fell far short of what they were hoping, of what Reagan and the country was hoping for. They were hoping for like 80 million or 100 million people to hold hands. It was 15 million people that held hands across America.
Disappointing.
Yeah, the whole thing was a major disappointment. They didn't raise half the money they wanted to.
Right.
And then most of the money went to pay off all the production crew and staff, and it failed.
But the idea was there.
Sure. Yeah, it's a great idea. That doesn't mean anything, though.
But in this movie's context, it quite does. I'm saying.
Yeah. That's
I mean, the
true.
idea is really what it's based on. I think in his commentary on it was that at least there was that idea from a political standpoint to say, hey, let's get together for the unfortunate. If it worked or didn't, it's the idea. That would never be offered nowadays. It seems we're so far removed from that.
Correct.
You know.
And Al and I were talking the other day. I mean, we've got a caste system coming. I mean, that's what it basically is right now. People are at very different strata for so many different reasons.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
economically, politically, socially.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys think Jordan Peele is one of the best filmmakers working today as far as making these statements that he has successfully with Get Out and now Us?
It's tough. I would say it's tough to say because it's only two films, two great films. Don't get me wrong.
I think we saw him at South by Southwest and heard an informal talk that he made it very clear. He says, I just want to start a conversation. That's what I want to do. That's what this whole film is about. And he's doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So he's succeeding in his eyes.
I think that he has made in these, from film 1 to film 2, from Get Out to Us, he has made unbelievable strides as a filmmaker, as just in directing this cast, to have them playing opposite each other themselves, to have them kill themselves, to have them just making the continuity of this as a filmmaker. He's made unbelievable strides. As a storyteller, I think he hasn't taken as great a stride in this movie over Get Out.
I agree with that, actually.
Yes, and directing too. He said that he got these people so crazy it made him proud.
Well, maybe he needed to flex his directing muscle a little.
Lupita was excellent in there.
Yeah.
Oh,
totally.
she was amazing. She surprised him. He said that she really scared the shit out of him.
That's awesome.
I believe it.
Now, for the spoilers, as far as what you were going to say, Matt, the big one you think is the idea that the little girl was switched.
Clearly.
Yeah. But I think watching it, I kept thinking that. Were you guys under the impression that more than likely she was the doppelganger all along?
Sure. Well,
I was.
When Red showed up, and Red talked with this this forced voice,
where she's almost losing air.
But she was the only tethered who could talk. Well, where did that come from? So she hadn't used those vocal cords for all of those years, and now she's above ground and she's using them. She's found those chords again. She was the only one who could talk. That was the giveaway for me.
I honestly, I know you're right. Looking back on it, I probably should have seen that coming, but I didn't. The twist caught me completely off guard. I think her voice is like that because she got strangled by the tethered who traded places with her. I thought it was a great twist. It makes you rethink, and it's almost like, listen, I'm comparing it to Sixth Sense. I'm not saying it's as good as Sixth Sense because it's not. Sixth Sense is way better as a twist movie, but it makes you want to go back immediately and try to see all the clues.
Well, here's the question: Is the son?
There
Is
you
the
go.
son also a doppelganger
Right.
switched?
That's what
because
I was
he
thinking.
does
About
not
that.
speak.
In the mask.
Right, and and there's that wonderful scene where the two boys are in the closet together, and the son, who we think is the son, not the doppelganger.
talks.
No, he never says a word in the film.
Not after he comes back out of the. Does he not talk at all?
I don't think so.
Until he
Or
co-
if he
No,
does,
he does.
it's
does.
minimal. It's minimal.
He doesn't
though.
talk. He doesn't talk a lot. He hides behind the mask. But after he comes out of the locker at the end, does he utter another word after that?
I don't think so, but he's clearly not the doppelganger because the doppelganger's horribly scarred.
Yeah.
So
Unless they were switched beforehand.
yeah, but that doesn't make sense because he
I'd have to
speaks.
see it again. I thought that possibly there was a chance
it's
at
not that the tethered can't speak, right? Because Lupita's character, what's her name, Adeline?
Yes.
Or Adelaide? I can't remember. Adelaide. She speaks, and she is a tethered, right?
But we don't know how long that took because obviously after they switched it, a little girl, there's that scene where the mother is saying, "I just want my daughter back,"
Right,
to
when
be able
she's
to
at
talk.
when she's at the psychiatrist.
Right.
Or
He's
the
obviously had
psychologist.
some kind of therapy.
Correct.
Right, but then she goes on to have a normal human life. So it's not as though they can't speak. They just have never been taught and have no reason to speak. There's a bit, I mean, when you start thinking about it too much, it's, it's all a little, it falls
There
apart.
are some, there are some things, and there are a lot of issues in there. It's not just one issue. There are so many issues that you have to change thinking for, it's kind of like whiplash.
Yeah, I agree.
Anything else on Us?
No, I'm glad to see that he's exploring other topics, different topics, and not just sticking to one. I can't wait to see what Jordan Peele does next. He's established himself as a voice for me.
I also think that Zora, the young girl, was the unlikely hero. She was the one who really came out ahead, and he made her important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's
That
got
was
that
interesting.
golf club.
Yep, she's good. She's
good. She's got
a great stroke with that. Nice follow through. Really, I like the form on that. I think she could be on the tour.
I loved that everybody, and this is something that our friend Jeff York picked up on in his sketch that he did for this film. Everybody got their own little signature weapon. You know, the bat for the dad, the fire poker for the mom,
right?
The golf club for Zora, and the little boy had that
weapon of choice.
What was that? Like a geode or something?
Yeah,
it was like a rock,
right,
on a stand.
Yep,
that was so cool.
The other nice twist in this is that Dad, you would expect Dad, who started out as the goofy kind of
comedic relief
dad, that he would have been the first one to get killed.
I so thought he was.
That he would be the the fodder, the cannon fodder, and then that Lupita would be left. Maybe she would be. I was expecting her maybe to be the only one left, especially after the twin girls got.
Oh, they got
the
theirs.
other family. The other family got killed off so quickly. But that was a twist that they all survived, or whoever they are survived.
One more quick thing.
Sure.
That scene, I forget the actress's name from
Elizabeth Moss.
Elizabeth Moss.
Thank you. Yeah. Mad Men. That's what I was trying to think of.
Right.
Her scene where she's the doppelganger and she puts on the lip gloss in the mirror.
So good.
Holy crap. That was an amazing scene. She's just smiling, that psychopathic smile.
So good.
Amazing.
The scene that got me was when Lupita is against the glass table.
Oh, yeah.
And you have the reflection of her in the glass as it's breaking. It was just amazing.
Can't say enough good things about Us. Best movie of the year so far that we've seen?
I'd say so. For me.
For me also.
One of them.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, this is our first spoiler lounge. Let us know what you think of this, Jawheads. We'll be doing it more often.
Yeah, semi-regularly.
So until next week, I'm Ryan the Movie Guy.
I'm Matt Kay,
and keep on jawing about the movies. For real this time.